One more time. Everything should be good. F5. We are live on Facebook, my brother, on my channel. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the YouTube. And we are streaming live on YouTube. All the chat boxes are open. And let me turn off the volume on the Facebook. My channel. Now I'm going to do the refresh with the Facebook YouTube pages. We are good there. Okay, everybody, this is Charles Blair, the mad scientist. I want to welcome and thank each and every one of you for being on this broadcast. I'm here with my man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Michael Green. How you doing, Mike?
It's like I'm hiding. What's up, man? Thanks for inviting me on.
I can't complain, man. Can't complain at all. I am so glad you took the time to be on today, man. I've been trying to get you to do this broadcast for a couple days now. I know your schedule is busy as hell with all the deals you're working on. First thing first, I want to give it a couple of pieces of information to everybody that's on the broadcast. If you have any questions that you want to leave for Mike on these broadcasts, we are currently streaming live on Facebook, Instagram, Periscope. Also, we are live on Twitch. And last but not least, we are live on YouTube. You can check us out on all 5 channels, one at a time. Whatever is your favorite network, come on this channel and give us all those questions you have for Mike. And look at that topic today, the dropout that flipped out, how to 10X your real estate business. Now, Mike, I've been knowing you for years. But for those out there right now that are saying, who the hell is Mike Green? Let everybody know exactly who you are.
I'm Mike Green, the high school dropout from Brooklyn who flips a ton of houses right now. And I would say I flip less houses because I'm getting a little bit wiser in my age. On houses and just really making more or less work.
So I heard the phrase scaling down to profit up. We're going to revisit that phrase. But first of all, I want to thank those right now that are on the broadcast. Mike, people are telling me they're hearing a little bit of echo on your end. Check and see, make sure your mic is pretty good. Thank you for being on the broadcast. Scott, thank you for being on the broadcast. Michael, I appreciate you being on the broadcast. Jason, Charles, Jason, thank you, my friend. We are already live here. Mike is checking his microphone, making sure everything is okay. Look like he's doing that Spike Lee thing where he's actually gliding through the actual screen. So we're going to give him a second to check his mic out. But we will be actually interviewing my brother in a few seconds. I think we got better quality sound. Everybody, let me know if the sound is good. Heart it up, like it up. Jason, let me hear from you, man. How does it sound right now? Mike, say something to everybody.
I hope it's a lot better. All I could do is move closer to the internet, and I'm hoping that we got enough juice to make this sound awesome.
How we sound, Jason? I hope everything sounds good right there, my brother. Scott, is that echo going down? How we sound? Okay, we got a little delay. I think we are good, my brother. Now, back to that question. Michael Green, the man, the myth, the legend from, I think, where you grew up from, Mike? Where you grew up at?
Brooklyn, Baltimore City, South Baltimore.
So tell us a little bit about how you got started in the business, but most importantly, what's going on right now. But let's start off with how you got started, man.
So 10 years ago, I had been dreaming about being in flipping forever. And finally, I get this opportunity where I was doing some floors for a guy who was flipping houses, and he invited me to a free seminar, much like you see all the time these days. But back then there was like one. I don't think there was many of those going around, and I happened to get into it. I ended up paying the dude about $15K to teach me, and it changed my life. He wasn't the best in the world, but he taught me things that I would have never figured out on my own. And even having a crappy coach at that time was better than just running around for the last 6 years trying to make an offer, and I couldn't get anybody to offer. I couldn't get people to invest with me. I couldn't figure anything out, honestly. I just had a dream, and I just couldn't make it happen until I got some direction and got some clarity. Now, once I got with this coach, it only took about month and a half, and I made my first 16K check wholesaling a deal. Uh, Shortly after that, did my first rehab, made about 30,000 on that. And for the first year I was in business, I was doing about 10 deals, mostly predominantly wholesale, about 3 or 4 rehabs. But I brought in about 80K in net profit in my part time while I was still working my job. And that's when I made the leap to quit, which was really scary, by the way, because I've been employed my whole life, and it wasn't easy to get rid of that sustainable stuff, income you can count on.
Right.
Right. It just feels like, oh, it's going to be there every week. I can count on it. But house flipping, I mean, I was making more money in my part time flipping houses than I was working at my job. So I thought there's probably no time. I had the 80K I'd saved. Plus, I had a couple houses going. So I had some anticipated income happening. And I just jumped in, man. And then, I ended up with a partner. I mean, we ended up doing about 800 houses together. Now it's about 1,100 houses later. And, I'm just, every day in the grind trying to figure things out.
DC, Virginia market. A lot of times you talk about the mindset and you talk about what it takes to be successful. And you really are real heavy on the mindset. Let everybody know what your whole theory is when it comes to having the right frame of mind to really move forward in the business.
I mean, honestly, this business is a tough one. So I know a lot of times we're drawn to it because it looks like a get rich quick scheme. Right? It looks like this next opportunity where we're just going to hit it big, and we see the end result that others are getting after the years of work they put in. And legitimately, we're just like, "Hey, what's up, Tammy's just jumping in." She's just like, "Is that legal, Charles?"
Yes,
So
yes, yes.
your wife can just jump in and help
Yeah.
us out.
Well,
Awesome. Hey,
I'm
you're
no.
welcome, though. I'm happy to see her.
Go right ahead, man.
I think she messed up the internet connection. So it's her fault.
Continue, my friend.
So I'm gonna jump back in. Thank you, Tammy. It's always great seeing Tammy. I love her. I'm back in. So I basically believe that the mindset is like you have to get really focused on the fact that it's going to require work to get great at anything. Right? If you're going to be an awesome poker player, you're going to be an awesome weightlifter, runner, anything you decide to do, it requires work. The only thing I will say about house flipping is when you put like you get an upside that's so much bigger than any amount of work that I've ever seen at anything else, honestly. When I like in my life, I've become a great poker player and I made no money doing that because it's like you could be good at it, but it's not something that's going to have the upside of like flipping houses. Flipping houses, when you get good at this, like your kids' lives are going to be different. You're going to have generational wealth. You're going to start building rental portfolios. You're going to start doing stuff that you just never thought was possible. A kid growing up in the projects with a 10th grade education. I should not make the money I'm making, but it's one of those businesses that if you're willing to put the work in and you have that right mindset, you're just going to keep doing it until it works, then you're going to win. Like I've seen a lot of people. I mean, I know people can't read and write that are making tons of money flipping houses. And I know people with master's degrees that are failing at it.
Right.
And honestly, the difference between the two is the person that can't read or write is resilient. Like they do not give up. With a master's degree guy, he comes in, he tries, it don't work out. And he's like, oh man, this sucks. I'm too smart for this. He just thinks it should be fine right to him. The mental intelligence, which we call EQ, right? Emotional intelligence. Got
Exactly.
to be strong-willed, man. But with that being said, I don't know anywhere else where you get paid as well for, just being stubborn.
Yeah, one of my mentors, Mike, used to say, in this business, we don't get paid by hour, we get paid by thought. And we could literally decide how much we want to make each month, each week, each year, just by having the right plan and the right mindset to make it happen.
100% agree. Yep. There's no other place. If you want to make 200K a year working 5 hours a week, you can do it in this business. I mean, I'm down to 20 hours a week now, and I flip 71 houses. Was not my best year. It was actually surprisingly, as I scaled up, I was scaling up at the cost of profit margins, and I was really reinvesting into my business, which I don't really recommend these days.
Yeah.
Something I've done in the past, that's how I've gotten as much as 150 houses a year. But I'm really big right now. I'm just like, I got some they're nailing it, just like 5-10 houses a year, but they're crushing every house. And it's kind of inspired me to say, like, Mike, could I just do less and really crush it? Could I just flip 20 houses and just like make as much humanly ever seen off of 20 homes? Because I'm really considering it right now. It's our plan for this year. I've already in the last 6 months started implementing scaling down the profit up. My thing right now, get it right, man. Become high performance house flipping.
Now,
that's our new thing within our company, and we're taking everything to high performance.
Now I heard you mention a few seconds ago about the poker you used to play. Because I remember when you and I used to work together, you was a beast on the poker table. So are you telling me there's no more poker playing going on?
Not anymore. Everyone's gotten so good at it. And it's really relevant. This is a great with you with poker. So poker for many years was being crushed by people with some basic strategies, right? My
Mm-hmm.
friend Steve won a bunch of money. He'll even tell you himself he's not a great poker player. He won $5 million, and a lot of people with just a basic strategy who were crushing it for years. And about 10 years ago, there was this whole subset of dudes, we call them poker wizards, like trolls in a corner that would play online. And because they had all this tracking data, they were way smarter than any of the live players, but they would never come in and beat the players because it was too slow for them. It's the only thing they could play 8, 9, 10 tables at a time and make a lot of money and like maximize their money. Then online poker got shut down and these poker wizards entered the live game
Yeah.
and they changed the industry forever because now all of a sudden the basic poker playing couldn't work anymore. So like year one when they came in, like it was just a small, they were 1%, right? They were the 1% just winning all the money. And still there was room for a lot of other people to win. 10 years later, like 80% of the people now are playing what we call game theory optimal. And we're starting to see that in house flipping. The reason this is a very relevant story, we're starting to see that if you're flipping the old way that the gurus have been teaching for so long,
Mm-hmm.
you're getting out of date quickly. And you're probably noticing it if you are deals, you're struggling to find good contractors, nothing's coming in on budget or on timeline, right? You're constantly like your marketing sucking and you're not getting good conversion. Like it means you're what we're calling right now, we're calling it dinosaur flipping. And you gotta evolve or you're gonna go stink like the dinosaurs, man. Because that's exactly what we had to do 3 years running into all the same walls as most of like your students and just most of the community is running into. That's why they come in. They need someone to help them get to that next level. So if you're not making the shift flipping from dinosaur flipping to what we call high performance house flipping, you're on your way out. Like 100%. You've got to make that shift, just like poker right now. So I made the shift to the higher level of poker playing, but unfortunately, so did everyone else. So there's just not as much opportunity. And instead, I chose to be more focused on the house flipping market because there's a tremendous opportunity right now. Because 99% of the market is dinosaur flipping right now. And when that's the case, it's one of the biggest opportunities we've seen in the last 10 years. Whenever you have an opportunity to go in and be so different than everyone else and be able to do it at such a higher level than everyone else, then that's where the biggest, greatest amount of opportunity is going to be. With anything, though, people figure it out. Students learn it, more people learn it, and it's going to spread time. So, 5 years from now, 10% of the public will be doing it. And 20 years from now, maybe 80% will be doing it. And the opportunity every year is just going to grow and grow and grow. So it's really important to stay on top of it and stay focused on it because it's going to pay off in the long run.
Yeah, Mike, I agree with you 100%, man. I think that there's a lot that's going on right now in this actual industry. I want to first of all thank you for being on this broadcast. Remember, guys, the topic today is the dropout that flipped out how to 10x your real estate investing business. I want to thank Scott for being on the broadcast, Michael being on the broadcast, Jason, thank you, my friend, for being on the broadcast, Antoine, thank you for being on the broadcast, Fred, Lance Deutsch is on the broadcast. Long time no see, Lance. My man Robert, driving the Corvette. How you doing, my brother? Thank you for being on the broadcast. Brian, thank you for being on the broadcast. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to put them in the comment section. Our first question comes from my man Aaron Johnson, who asks, Mike, can you get started if you don't have a large amount of cash in the bank?
Yeah, that's a big question. I feel like a lot of people ask that question. The reason I didn't get into house flipping for like 6 years is because I was broke, and I didn't realize you could actually get into this without money. When I got in, I did my first flip. I was actually about 125K in debt, so I would say I was worse than not a large amount of money. I was in the negative. Now, if you learn your stuff and you get good at this, now you are going to have some money, right, Charles? You're going to have to be able to pay a little bit for a mentor. You're
Of
going to have to
course.
do a little bit of marketing. You can't be like, I'm dead broke. I can't eat tomorrow. if you're in that place where you ain't got no food to eat, you need to get a job first, save a little bit of bank up. But we're talking about maybe having like $3 to $10,000. I don't know of any other business that you could make hundreds of thousands a year, up to like millions a year, really, even for certain people, that you could get started with like $5 to $10,000. But you are going to need at least a few $1,000 either on a credit card that you can use something, because you need a little bit of marketing. You need stuff. With that being said, if you know what you're doing, like you took a guy like Charles and we just wiped out his whole bank account and we threw him back here and said, you got to start all over, he would be fine because he has his number one asset, which is his brain, right? His knowledge, his intellect, his systems. He could figure that out. Well, you think Charles couldn't go out and just convince someone to invest money with him? If he was broke, he'd come to me and I'd be like, I'm in. I'll partner up with you until you get back on your feet. Same thing for me, right?
Right.
Hey, I'm definitely going to, hey, man, I'll help you out. Then let's do it, man. Let's make some money together. So, like, the reality is when people ask, do you need money to get started? You need a little teeny bit of money just to get educated. And once you're educated, what you're going to see happen is you're going to start attracting people. And that's what happened to me. I just started talking to a friend at poker table who I thought was completely broke. And I started talking to him and he's like, hey, man, I want to flip house with you. I'm thinking like, oh yeah, he ain't got the money. To find out, he actually had 250K he got from a lawsuit, and he was ready to invest secretly. And he was like behind the scenes. He's like, let's do a deal. He ended up funding my first deal. Once I did that first deal, I attracted another guy who had about 900,000, and me and him ended up being partners for almost 800 flips together. So yes, you can do it. You're going to need other people's money, and the only way you're going to really attract that money is for you to get super smart on your feet and for you to know the business. So you got to get some education.
Now, I know, man, you are really big on systems and you're really big on the mindset and creating the right environment. What does a day in the life of Michael Green look like in a 24-hour period, for an example?
I mean, so honestly, my house flipping business is like, it's a couple hours a day right now. I've gotten into some coaching, gotten into some life stuff, enjoying life, traveling, doing these things. But right now, I start off in the morning. I'm not bogged down by the 80% that is meaningless. I'm literally just looking at like, what are the one or two things I have to do this morning that are going to move my business forward? I do that every day. And I always do it first thing in the morning, because I don't know if you guys are the same, but I got a higher level of energy in the morning and it starts to fade out usually after lunch a little bit. So it's definitely not anywhere near as high. So I do all the most difficult stuff in the morning, first hour or two. And that difficult stuff, usually the things that we resist the most tend to be the things that move our business forward the fastest. And it's those things that we're always stuck on a clock. I really don't often have a lot to do. I might be able to jump into some stuff, but it's stuff that I could choose to do or not choose to do, just depending on how nice the day is, or if there's some other stuff I would enjoy doing more. And if I just put in like those 3 to 4 hours a day, I'm good. My business stays fine. It grows. It gets better. And that was at 70 houses a year. I'm thinking I'll have even more time. It's now going down to about 30 houses a year.
Well, absolutely. Ain't no doubt about that. I agree with you 100%. Just like you, my day usually starts off at 5:30 in the morning. I'm talking to my team of VAs, my project manager, my lead acquisition officers, and that's forward. So if this mind is all that you have to go off of, and someone say, okay, Mike, give me two things, two marketing strategies, two marketing approaches that you would recommend someone do who's really trying to turn the corner, what would those two strategies be from that mind of yours?
So first of all, I think that most of us suffer from what I call house flipper ADD. So my number one strategy I'm going to give you is like, stop focusing on 10 things, right? Figure out one single thing and decide you're going to crush it. You want to be the Michael Phelps of whatever you decide you're going to do. Everyone's like, Mike, what's your best thing? What works? And I'm like, dude, ask Charles Blair. Cold calling works. Planet science works. I don't really know of anything that doesn't work, to be honest. It all
Mm-hmm.
works. The issue is none of us have enough ability to focus on one thing long enough, because we get bored and we get house flipper ADD and we start saying, oh, I want to do a flipping, I want to wholesale, I want to do rent to own, I want to be owner. All these work, by the way. You just got to choose one. Michael Phelps. Michael Phelps would not have been Michael Phelps if he would have chose like, I'm going to swim, I'm going to play basketball, I'm also going to do some other stuff, right? I mean, he picked one thing and he did it until he was the greatest. And that's how you have to be in house flipping. So that's my first piece of advice is focus. Whatever you decide you're going to do it really well. And really just know that whatever you choose, well, so second piece of advice would be to choose a marketing plan that you actually enjoy. Because you might, like, if you hate cold calling, do not choose cold calling. If you like when people call you, then maybe doing some mailers would be good. Or if you're a nerd like me, like you're a nerd like me and you like to look at data online, then the MLS works really well. I've gotten about 17 deals last year from the MLS. It's amazing. So, but I'm a nerd. I like to get on there. I like to do a little research. I like looking at things. So that tends to be my wheelhouse. So I enjoy doing it. So pick the thing that you enjoy doing and then focus on it and become great at it. Don't do something because Charles or I told you to do it. Go figure out what part of this marketing and prospecting do you like, because you will do what you like. It's that simple. If you don't like something, you'll do it long enough just to get out of it, but you'll do it long enough to get a result. But then as soon as you get an opportunity not to do it, you'll stop doing it. You'll want to give it away. And like finding deals is the engine of our business. It's something till today that I still have a very, very deep stake in. Right. I mean, I'm senior reviewing every one of my best deals and making sure that I'm involved in it because it's the engine of the business. If it starts to fall apart, my income starts to drive down real quickly. Now, I have someone take care of everything else I hate, though. I actually enjoy looking for deals. It's
Of
kind of fun
course.
for me. But I hate bookkeeping. I hate the paperwork that comes after I find the deal. Cannot stand that. So all I have to do is get people to do the things I hate and focus on what I love. So two tips: pick the marketing that you're going to have fun doing, and then focus on it like you're Michael Phelps. I want to make sure that you come to me a year from now, you're like, Mike, I'm the Michael Phelps of bandit signs. I'm crushing it. I figured out every different way to make a bandit sign, like just optimally get leads in.
Okay, I love the direction you took that in regards to two cerebral type of approaches to finding deals. But I want some meat. I want some meat and potatoes, man. I want the actual hardcore meat strategy that you're doing. I know you mentioned one. You mentioned MLS. Give me one more that you're willing to reveal to those in the audience right now. One more strategy that you say, okay, I'm crushing it with MLS, but I also am doing this.
Cool. MLS is look, first of all, MLS is awesome. So I'll tell you about that. But really, MLS is my big play right now. So MLS wholesalers, and I'll tell you what, decide who of those 50 leads are going to be our 4 and 5 star prospects. So within our company, we're deciding like who are the most valuable prospects. And when we find that someone's super valuable, and we base that on their ability to sell the house, meaning they have equity. Secondarily, that they're motivated to sell and that their house is in bad condition, meaning we can give them, we can bring value to them because if it's in good condition, they should just list with a realtor. So if someone falls into that 4 or 5 star prospect, then we're going to put all of our attention into them. So the meat and potato, what I'm doing different today than when I was 3 years ago is I used to take about 30 minutes on an appointment. Now, often my appointments can be as long as 2, 3 hours sometimes. Building that high level rapport with people and anti-selling is what I call it. We don't do any
Right.
more selling anymore. We literally
Mm-hmm.
go in and we qualify, we build rapport, and then we allow them close their self, which I call reverse closing. Their selves, and it's so seamlessly easy and it's effortless. It's just one of those natural things, and people love it because they're like, everyone else came in was using like a technique, and they felt I didn't trust them because
Yeah.
they were using the old sales techniques that I've used for years, but they're not really that great anymore. So that's the meat and potato thing that's really changed the game for me. Now I'm 1 in 8. I've literally tripled my results just by tweaking how I communicate with people in a very big way. When I say tweak, I mean like complete 360 from what I was doing before. But I didn't learn any of that stuff because the gurus told me that's what you have to do. You got to learn these tactics and all these things to get people to do what you want, and it works. I'm not talking down to salespeople. I mean, yes, you can be a salesperson and make money. I just feel like you're climbing up a very steep hill when you're doing it. And when you do anti-selling, it's like you're going down the hill with ease. It's amazing. It's so easy.
Yeah. My mentor, Jack Miller, was one that always told us that all you have to do is just listen long enough, build rapport, and the seller will tell you exactly how to buy their house. That's all it is. You just hit it right on the nail, man. Now, you've been in the business for a number of years. I think you've been in the business, what, over 10 years now?
10 years, yep.
So, what do you hold as the reason for your longevity? Because you remember 2008, everybody was flipping houses. Everybody was a superstar.
Uh,
Everybody was doing this. Everybody was doing that. And a lot of those people ain't there anymore. So, what is the reason behind your longevity in this business?
I mean, if I had to summarize it down to one thing, it's really evolution. I mean, my willingness to evolve has been the big thing. And it mostly, a lot of people's like, well, how do you learn to be that way? I'm not born that way. Honestly, I don't have anything else on my calendar. Like, I have a 10th grade education, so there's not really another job for me other than going out and do backbreaking work, which I'm not looking forward to doing after, doing the job of my dreams for 10 years. So I'm not really giving myself a plan B, right? It's house flipping or nothing. And when you take that thought process, like that's the secret to staying in the game. when things stop working, and I also will say that gotten very good at doing like KPIs, measuring, knowing when my
Mm-hmm.
business is not doing as good as it should. And I've gotten very good at identifying the things that aren't working. When I find those things that aren't working, I need to quit my job and do more of it. And I'm like, no, you actually need to do it somehow differently, because if it hasn't worked, really, if you can't find a deal in like 2, 3 hours a week, you're probably not going to be able to do it at all, whether you had 30 hours a week. It's really a broken system. And I know a lot, I know I've done that before. So I know, believe me, I'm not talking down to anyone. I'm literally saying I did it for years myself, but it wasn't until I started getting really good at that. And this happened about 3.5 years ago for me, when I brought in a very high level fixer into my business.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't a coach. He wasn't someone that just taught me stuff. This was someone who literally came in my business, like looked through everything I was doing, challenged everything I was doing. And most of the really high level concepts that I share with you today and I've been sharing really came from him and I just working together for the last 3.5 years on fixing my business and making it completely different than all my competitors.
So, man, you've given us a lot of information, and I can't believe how quickly a half an hour has gone past so far. So, tell me what's up next for Michael Green, Simple House Flipping? What's going to happen next in your business?
In my business is scaling down, man. So I mean, in my personal business, I'm scaling it down. I'm going to cut it down to doing only the things I love over the next year, and we're going to just make this thing just hum, because it's now we're at the point after 3 years of evolving and fixing, and we've got the system we're running right now is amazing. It's been pumping out great results with almost no effort. It took 3 years to figure, a lot of money invested, a lot of traveling, a lot of studying, and it's here. So now it's time to enjoy, man. So what's next for me is I'm going to just make the business smaller, and I'm going to start doing all the things I wanted to do, traveling, get back to like living life and just enjoying things. It's like, I think that's what we got in this for, right? We were meant to have fun. Definitely going on the Real Deal cruise next year. That is top of my list, just for the record.
Yeah, we just got a message from my man, Home Media on YouTube. He said, you didn't miss much by missing out on the 11th and 12th grade.
I'm sure. I'm not a fan of school, just for the record. I mean, like most of the stuff they teach us in school is stuff we never use. So I probably didn't miss out on much.
So tell everybody out there how they can reach Mike if they want to get in contact with him. How can they work with you? All that good stuff. Give them the information they need to know.
Cool. So if anyone wants to work with me or reach out to me, then my email address is mike@theflipfactor.net. That's mike@theflipfactor.net. Just shoot me an email and we'll talk. I love always talking with people. Really big into sharing with the community, getting feedback. Part of my success came from guys like Charles and everyone out there just being willing to share and give back. So very big thanks to you, Charles, for that. You've always been awesome at that. It's why I think me and you've been such great friends over the years, because we do think a lot alike like that. And you do a lot of good stuff for everyone. So I want to give you a thanks for everyone out there also.
No problem, man. Thank you very much for sharing your time with everybody. Just for a little side note, don't forget, guys, we want to see you on the Real Deal Meetup Cruise. My man, Mike Green, is also going to be one of the actual speakers on the Real Deal Meetup Cruise, January the 19th. My man, Mike Green, the flip extraordinaire, and we'll see you on the next episode of Duru Interviews. Bye-bye.